I've covered no end of meaningless crimes so far on this channel, and today's case is no less senseless. But as well as evil and self-serving elements, this case is about love. Love of two kinds, one of which is betrayed heartlessly, but the other is very pure and resilient and enduring, even if it ends in tragic fashion. But I will offer a trigger warning because of the extremely cruel way that lives are ended. But at the outset, I want to talk about a reunion that is very heartening. This is the heartbreaking case of Carol and Reggie Sumner, and this is Murder of Crows. Today's case starts with an attack that leaves a woman critically injured. But incredibly, despite its callousness, it is not the worst example of the human ability to inflict cruelty on others that we will see in this episode. In 1987, Carol was living with her 10-year-old daughter Rhonda in South Carolina, after her second marriage had unfortunately failed. As she was trying to pick up the pieces, she suffered a life-changing event on February the 18th. On that day, the husband she had most recently split from turned up at her home without explanation. This man shot Carol 6 times before fleeing, only to later be found in his car having shot himself in the head. Carol was critically injured, but with the will to survive for her daughter, she pulled through. But she would have life-changing injuries. Damage to her liver had long-ranging consequences, and when the damage metastasized into cancer, she was facing another fight for her life. But she wasn't prepared to give up. She realized there were things she could do and things she could not do. But focusing on the things she could do, she concentrated on her abilities rather than her disabilities, and looked for work that she could manage despite her limitations. As a result of her positive outlook, she managed to find work as a part-time customer service representative for a TV cable company, and she was good at it. She was still working at the job several years later when she received a call at some point in the year 2000. A man had called the cable company simply to make inquiries, and it was Carol who had, by pure chance, taken the call. She was surprised to find that she recognized the voice, even though she had not seen the speaker for around 4 decades. The man said his name was Reggie Sumner, and Carol replied that she knew that because she was his high school girlfriend. Back in high school, Carol had fallen hard for Reggie, as he had for her. But with them being young, they had different plans for life. And at the time, they decided it was best if they split. Reggie entered the Navy and had been married and divorced by 2000, while Carol, as we know, had married twice and divorced twice before she was almost killed. Reggie and Carol chatted and realised they lived quite close to each other, and they arranged a date, and the two became like teenagers again. They fell hard for each other once more, and within 6 months the two were married and were living together in South Carolina. Their love for each other and love for life generally was infectious, and they were well liked in their community. They even stepped in to help when a girl in their neighbourhood was going through a hard time. Her family were struggling for money, and her dad had a long-standing illness. So Carol and Reggie effectively took her under their collective wing, letting her stay when she needed to and chipping in with money when it was necessary. In fact, when they got a new car, they let the girl buy their old car on a payment plan, paying what she could when she could. They were the very personification of good eggs. After about a year of living together in South Carolina, the Sumners planned to sell their home and retire to Jacksonville in Florida to be nearer to Carol's daughter Rhonda, and live comfortably on the proceeds from selling a house that was just too big for them. After they moved, Rhonda would speak to her mother on the phone every single day, especially on account of the illness that was a remnant for Carol of her being shot. And things seemed to be going well as they settled into their retirement years. Reggie doted on Carol, and caring for her just did not seem like a chore for him. But there were concerns in mid-2005, as while Reggie never complained and did what he could, he was struggling with diabetes and was temporarily in a wheelchair on account of breaking his leg. And in July, Rhonda was a bit worried that she couldn't get hold of either Carol or Reggie on the phone. And at first she brushed it off, because everyone misses phone calls sometimes. But after 3 days without being able to make contact, Rhonda was concerned enough to drive over to their home. The first thing she noticed was that their car was missing from the driveway. When she knocked on the door, no one answered. So, feeling very concerned by now, she thought it best to call the Jacksonville Police Department, who immediately started a search, and the story hit the news channels very quickly. The first step forward came quickly, with the police finding the couple's car abandoned in a Florida town about an hour west of Jacksonville. And the car was in a secluded area off a dirt road, suggesting that it was not meant to be found. but there was no sign of Reggie and Carol Sumner. But then the police received a phone call, a rather strange one. A somewhat young-sounding voice reported that he was Reggie Sumner, and he said he'd left the area with his wife and they would be returning soon. The police asked to speak to Carol, and a female voice came on the line and said that she was Carol. Now, as with all calls to the police, this call was recorded, and when the police played the call to Carol's daughter Rhonda, she confirmed that the voices were definitely not those of her mother or of Reggie. When the police traced the phone number, it came back to a fake name and fake address. But the phone was linked to a call made to a car rental company in South Carolina. Police turned to Reggie and Carol's bank accounts to see if there was any activity, and indeed there was. Quite a lot, as it happens. The police saw that the cards had been used at an ATM in South Carolina, and the police wasted no time in getting the CCTV from the ATM machine in question, and the person they saw was neither Reggie nor Carol, but rather it was a man in his 20s. But just as importantly, the ATM camera picked up details of the car the man was driving, and they were then able to track the movements of that car until it reached a motel in South Carolina. Police attended at the motel and found that the car was linked to a certain room, and when they entered that room, they found 3 people. 24-year-old Tiffany Cole, her boyfriend 23-year-old Michael James Jackson, and 19-year-old Alan Wade. Also in the room were multiple bags of newly purchased items, as well as Reggie and Carol's car keys. But where were Reggie and Carol? The 3 suspects were taken to the police station for questioning, but all 3 remained tight-lipped for hours. But after a while, Tiffany Cole cracked, at least partially. She said that they had robbed the elderly couple but did nothing else, and that another person was involved, a friend of Alan Wade, who was 19-year-old Bruce Nixon. And it was on bringing Nixon in for questioning that everything changed. Nixon immediately spilled his guts about everything that had happened.
Get that on clean, going back at his house. Go tell him that you're long bro, so they can come see you or something.
I don't think if I tell them where the bodies are, I'm getting out early.
You're going to get less time.
Like that less. Get out at 150.
Yeah.
What if I say that I didn't kill him? What if I say that I didn't kill him?
That you did?
What if I say that? All they told me I was going to do was rob him. Then we put him in the trunk, they were still alive. But then when I got him in the trunk, I walked away with Tiffany. They said they were going to get the ATM number. And then I walked away with Tiffany. And then they did whatever they wanted and they came back. I know they were going to kill him.
I don't know, but you need to tell him something. Yeah, okay.
But if I told him I want a lawyer, then I can leave here today and get a lawyer. I don't go to jail. I don't know what to do.
Tell me where the bodies are, then I'll tell them.
Why? If you do.
Because that's why they're bugging out right now. They want to know where the bodies are.
Why would you stay in here with me and tell me to come in? If I tell, I'm asking, if I tell them where the bodies are, will they give me less time?
Wait, I have to talk to her. I'll be right back.
Hey Bruce, Ricky came out and told Detective Corsi you'd like to speak with us. I can't do that because you've asked for a lawyer, Bruce. The ball is in your court. Okay. Yeah. What you want me to do, son? You want me to leave? You want me to get your lawyer? Yeah, I'll stay in here for. You want me to stay in here for a minute? Yeah. Okay. If I tell y'all everything and tell y'all that I didn't do it, like I didn't kill him, you know what I'm saying? What would happen to me? That's not our decision, okay? I know. I'm just. Let me just say, we're fact finders. We get what the other people said, what you said, and we get the evidence, and we take it and we take it to the state attorney, okay? That's the procedure. I'm just saying.
Bruce, I got to ask, are you initiating contact with us that you want to talk with us for a minute without a lawyer? So you can shut it down anytime you want.
Yeah. If I get a lawyer, what would happen?
We can't answer that. Ball's in your court. We can't answer that. I'm just telling you, if you want to talk with us, the ball's in your court. You've asked for a lawyer.
The only reason why we came back in here is because Ricky told us, okay? If you want us to leave... No, sit down, wait. Oh, you want me to sit down? You want Detective Sullivan to sit down? Yeah, y'all wait. That's what I'm asking. I just answer my question. I just want... If I didn't kill him, I'm getting a less sentence, right? That's not our decision.
You're asking the guys that don't handle that end of this process. We don't know anything like that. I mean, that's what we don't know.
No, I'm just saying, but y'all would know, right? Y'all don't know if I get less sentence. Anybody would know that. There's variables that we don't even know. They're unknown variables. Oh, that's all I need to know, and I'll tell y'all everything.
You've got to make that decision. You got to weigh it.
I know everything. I just need somebody to talk to tell me things what I just asked you. And we're telling you, okay? But I'd feel more comfortable if we went, because you've asked for a lawyer once, okay? And we respected your wishes and we walked out, okay? We stopped the conversation. Okay. I'd like to, before we continue, okay? I'd like to go through them again, just so you know that you're aware, okay?
CYA for us, okay? It's big time CYA for us. We have to do everything by the book. Like we told you earlier, we don't want to violate any rights here, okay? In order to do that, we have to tell you these things again.
If I got a lawyer, what would if I got a lawyer?
We're not stopping. We're not talking anymore.
We're not talking to you anymore, okay? Why? No, I'm saying. Why? It's because that's your right.
That's your right.
But am I going to stay here until a lawyer comes in here and talks to me? That's all I want to know. At this point, we're probably not going to go get a lawyer for you. You have several rights, and one of those is we have to cease counseling or cease asking questions. Okay, once you've asked for a lawyer. Okay, there's several procedures here. I'm not going to get you one. Okay, yeah. I'm just going to walk out.
Can't. I mean, this is something you've got to make a decision. Right, hold on. Listen. Okay, it's going to be one of them things. You're going to have to take a leap of faith and either, if you want to talk with us, let us read you this. And if you want to tell us whatever you know or that you want to tell us, that's fine. If you don't, it's your ball's in your court right now. We have to know, and we keep bringing this up to you whenever you act like you want to talk with us, because we got to do this.
I know.
Okay, and if we do this, we can't. And if you ask for a lawyer, we're done. Okay, we can't talk to you after that. Okay.
I know. That's all I'm trying to ask y'all. Do I stay in here the whole time? Where I do what I... Where would I go if I asked for a lawyer? That's all I want to know.
I can't answer that.
We don't deal in hypothetical, okay? If you want a lawyer, you have a right, and you can get one, or one will be appointed for you, okay?
Bruce,
But where am I going?
Bruce, I need to know where the Sumners are, Bruce. Okay? We need to do the right thing and go and take care of business after that. We need to know where the Sumners are.
Can I just ask one question? When you told Ricky that you want to speak to us, what did you want to tell us?
Exactly.
What did you want to tell us? That's why we are here. You asked us.
I want to know if I tell you all, am I going to...
It's not. You don't ask us questions. Tell us, okay?
Bruce, just tell us where they're at, man. If you don't want to talk to us after that, tell us where they're at.
It's not the point I want to...
Bruce, if you don't want to go into details after that, that's up to you. You can stop us at any time, but just tell us where they're at, okay? Let's just tell us where they're at. If you want to stop after that, tell us.
I'm making a mistake right now.
I can't... You're old enough to make that decision for yourself, Bruce.
I'm not.
I know. I can't do that for you, man. I'm telling you, it's not... I'm not...
That's the way it was. They said they took care of him.
Where were y'all at, Bruce?
You'll be with me over there.
I'll be there the whole time.
Over in Georgia.
How far?
I'll take you exactly where you need to go.
All right, we'll do that, but tell me what road off of Georgia. We talking 121, 125?
Over by the Georgia Bend.
Georgia Bend? By the hunting club over there? Or when you go into Moniac?
Georgia Bend across the street on that dirt road.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, draw me the map, because I'm not sure the road you're talking off Georgia Bend. There's two Georgia Bend.
What I just told you was the truth.
I believe that. I believe that 100%. And you're doing good.
I don't want to do.
Here.
I go to church. I didn't think it was going to happen, man. I promise. You please help me.
Do you know how far off the road they are? How far? Bruce, do your best to draw me a little map so I can know how far we can all go back in there and do this, okay?
What side of the road?
Left-hand side.
What road are you drawing right there, Bruce?
This is a fire station.
Is that the fire station across from the Altman store up there, or?
No, this is down 121.
Okay.
That thing.
Oh, okay. And there's a church right near the fire station, right?
No, I don't think there is.
Okay.
This is the Georgia Bend, the dirt road.
Okay.
And then, you know what I'm talking about?
I know. If this is 121, I know right where that is. This isn't in Georgia yet, is it? Is this in Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is across the state line going towards St. George, right?
St. George.
Okay, and this is still on 121, not where it breaks off the Moniac, right?
It's farther.
How far past the fire station is the road?
Right here, it's directly in front of it. Right here.
So you turn down and take a right down?
Yeah, and it's the first light driveway you can go into.
Is it a driveway or cattle gap?
It has a gate. It's like a gate.
Is it locked? Did someone have the key?
How'd y'all get in?
Yeah.
There's like a little path back here. Like it goes right here. We drove up to it.
How did y'all get past the cat? Was it already open?
They did that. No, the gate wasn't open. No, they just went through the woods.
Oh, they drove through the woods over there? What car did they use? I know, man.
I promise,
And it was a deeply unpleasant story of betrayal and treachery. And it revolved around 24-year-old Tiffany Cole. In July of 2005, Tiffany Cole was partying in Jacksonville, Florida, with her new boyfriend, Michael Jackson, not that one. On account of their general unpleasantness, they were thrown out of the home where they were due to stay the night. So, out of money, they desperately needed to find somewhere to stay. But then Tiffany remembered the couple that had shown her such kindness during her teenage years in South Carolina. She remembered that Reggie and Carol Sumner had retired to Jacksonville. So she found their address, and she and Jackson rocked up out of the blue looking for somewhere to stay. And unsurprisingly, they welcomed their surrogate daughter and her friend with open arms. During the night, Reggie and Carol spoke about how their retirement should be pretty comfortable since they had made a profit of nearly $100,000 from the sale of their South Carolina home. Cole and Jackson saw only dollar signs. The nasty pair then spent a month planning and recruiting a couple of accomplices in the shape of Wade and Nixon. Then they were ready for action. As the elderly couple knew Cole and had met Jackson, they sent Wade and Nixon to the home under the guise of guys with a car that had broken down, and Carol welcomed them in to use the phone. Once inside, Carol was threatened with, unbeknown to the couple, a fake gun, and was restrained and tied up. Reggie heard her screams from the garage where he was, and he rushed into the house only to be met by a dual attack by Wade and Nixon, who also tied Reggie up. Then both elderly residents were given makeshift blindfolds, with their heads being wrapped in duct tape, with only slits below their nostrils, so they could breathe. Oh, the twats. They then contacted Jackson for phase 2. Jackson came to join them to coordinate the actual robbery of the home, with Cole waiting outside in a rental car. The elderly couple were then placed in the boot of their own car. Wade and Nixon drove northwest towards Georgia, and Cole and Jackson followed in the rental car. They stopped at a secluded spot where, rather ominously, a large hole had already been dug. When they went to the boot of the car, or trunk if you like, they found that the Sumner's restraints had come loose and their duct tape head coverings had loosened on account of the elderly couple having sweated so much while being held in the boot. The two were holding each other as they cried and prayed. With their duct tape now loose, they saw that Tiffany Cole was part of the group, and they realized they'd been betrayed in the worst way. Carol's jewelry was ripped off her, and she and Reggie were thrown into the hall. Carol threw her arms and legs around her beloved Reggie and buried her head in his chest, weeping softly. Jackson demanded the PIN numbers for the couple's accounts, and Reggie gave over the information. Then the gang did the unthinkable. they buried the Sumners alive. Can you imagine the sheer terror they must have experienced? On their way back to South Carolina, the gang dumped the Sumners' car before using their bank cards to get money and launching a massive spending spree. And this included hiring a limousine that Cole and Jackson were pictured in, not making any attempt to hide their newly found wealth. Thanks to Nixon finally growing a conscience, albeit way too late, the police were able to find the grave site where Reggie and Carol were found, still holding each other, having suffocated under the weight of the earth that had been piled on top of them. At Cole's week-long trial in October of 2007, the jury deliberated for less than 90 minutes before finding her guilty of first-degree murder. They voted 9-3 that she should receive the death penalty. And 5 months later, a judge handed down 2 death sentences for the murders and a sentence of life in prison for the kidnappings. Cole awaited execution at the Lowell Correctional Institution Annex. Jackson and Wade were also sentenced to death in their respective trials by majority jury decisions. Nixon, who had led police to the bodies and testified against the others, pled guilty to second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 45 years in prison. The case took another twist in 2017, when the Florida Supreme Court ordered new sentencing hearings for Cole, Wade, and Jackson, because their juries had not unanimously recommended the death penalty. A 2016 U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Hurst v. Florida found that Florida's prior law permitting non-unanimous jury verdicts in death penalty cases violated the Sixth Amendment, forcing Florida to re-sentence more than 150 convicted felons.
New developments in a big local story that we've been following since 2005. The Florida Supreme Court has thrown out the death sentence for Tiffany Cole, accused of murdering a St. Nicholas couple by burying them alive in Georgia. Joy went back into the News4 Jax archives and has this update for us. Joy.
Mary, this was a story that so many people have followed. Carol and Reggie Sumner, they were reported missing by family, and days later we learned they had been kidnapped, robbed, and then buried alive. Now Tiffany Cole's death sentence has been thrown out. It was Tiffany Cole who was the familiar face that Carol and Reggie Sumner invited into their home in July of 2005. She and 2 other friends used that friendship to plan their crime, asking for a place to stay during a long trip. News4 Jax brought updates to the community every step of the way.
A neighbor tells family that she remembers seeing a strange car come and go from the Sumners' house. And family says that they think that Carol and Reggie probably were just being nice, allowing the group to stay overnight so they didn't have to make the trip to and from Charleston all in one day.
The Sumners' bodies were found days later in a shallow grave in Charlton County, Georgia. They had been buried alive. Evidence technicians showing the shovels and crime scene photos at trial. The 3 were convicted in separate trials. Tiffany Cole always pleaded to have her life spared. At her sentencing hearing, Cole begged for a life sentence so she could help others.
Judge Weatherby, I'm not asking for justice, but rather mercy. The same mercy that God has continues to give me. I believe that there are many more people that I can reach out to with God's guidance and your mercy.
Ultimately, that hearing ended in tears for Cole. She was sentenced to death in a 9-3 decision, something that's now unconstitutional after a Supreme Court ruling last year that found death penalty decisions need to be unanimous.
Be merciful to me too.
Now, Cole will get a new sentencing hearing, and it's likely the 2 others who were convicted in the murders of the Sumners will also get new hearings because their death sentences were also not unanimous.
In June 2022, Wade was resentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. In August 2023, Jackson was resentenced to death. Cole was resentenced to life without parole on August the 23rd, 2023, after the jury voted 10-2 in a 3-hour deliberation to spare her life.
Crime that ends with healing. Tiffany Cole was sentenced to life in prison by a jury today, bringing an end to a case that has haunted Jacksonville since 2005. Cole was previously sentenced to death for her role in the murders of Carol and Reggie Sumner, who were kidnapped from their home, driven to the woods in Georgia, and buried alive. That earlier death sentence was thrown out several years ago, and the verdict in her resentencing was resounding, with 10 jurors voting for life behind bars. Our Ann Schindler was the only reporter in the courtroom and explains the surprise verdict, and it was followed by an even more surprising reaction from the victim's family.
A death penalty case with an ending no one expected. Mercy for the defendant and hugs for her mother.
It was emotional. I saw that she was almost in disbelief that we would get up and say, "We forgive you."
The Reverend Jean Clark lost her brother Reggie Sumner and his wife Carol in a crime of almost unparalleled brutality, bound with duct tape and buried in what prosecutors called a death pit.
It was a heinous crime. It was a very heinous crime.
The couple's niece, Rhonda Plains, doesn't dismiss the horror of what happened.
But Tiffany, I just felt like the whole time, it's almost like condemning her again. It's like she's being retried over and over.
Yeah. Along with 2 co-defendants, Cole has been through years of appeals, a process the Sumner family also had to endure.
To see, because she's already served how many years on death row? How many years? A long time.
Several witnesses testified that Cole is a changed person, a woman of deep faith, capable of helping others.
What is death going to bring but death? I mean, what good is that? Whereas if there's life, then there's hope.
The world does lack compassion, and we want to show that compassion for others. There are people that do wrong things, but, I believe in second chances.
A belief evidently shared by Tiffany Cole's jury. Ann Schindler, First Coast News. On your side.
And that was the hideous betrayal of the Sumners, who opened their arms and their home to a troubled young lady, only to be robbed and murdered as a result. Her and her wicked and greedy co-conspirators deserve to be forgotten, while the Sumners should absolutely be remembered. They were each other's first loves, and after some missteps along the way, they found each other again later in life and made up for lost time. Theirs was a true love, and even in the face of death, they turned to each other for solace and comfort, still holding each other when they were found. Their love story is the only bright spot in an otherwise grotesque and agonizing story. If you find a love like that, hold on to it. And I'll carry on searching, since Samson here is just a bloody mercenary who goes wherever the food is. This video is of course dedicated to Carol and Reggie Sumner, and I truly hope that they can now hold each other eternally. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I'm Steve. This mercenary bastard is Samson. And we'll see you when we see you. Unless, of course, Samson gets a better offer. Isn't that right, young man? Of course it is. We both know it is.
Say